Defensiveness.
I feel like you would get defensive in a different way than I would get defensive, but it was still defensive. Like you said, realizing that you don't have to fight your partner. You don't have to like defend yourself to try to prove your innocence, because that's really what it is in these moments, right? You're not defending yourself to like fight. You're defending yourself to be like, no, see, I wasn't doing what you thought I was doing. You're just in a dramatic mood now.
What have we learned in the last year of doing this podcast? What is it? What is your lesson? But yeah, that's what it'll be.
There's like, so many things, though. I think you got to like... Well,
yeah, we're just going to kind of riff on like what are the things that we've learned from doing the podcast, just what we've learned in the last year. And
I've learned that book talk wants to bring us down.
We've made... What enemies have we made?
We've only had a few episodes. Passport Bros and book talk people.
Yeah, they're...
I would say.
Yeah.
But... we care about you guys too. It's just, we're trying to help.
Yeah.
But on a serious note, it's like there's so many things. It's like, where do you
begin? Yeah.
Start?
I mean, we can just go out a bunch of different things.
Well, then you start because it's your topic.
There's so many things. I mean, okay. What would I say? It's one of the big things. I mean, one of the big things I would say is defensiveness, right? That's just not good in a relationship. I think I've learned a lot about. I've recognized it more in myself and in the relationship, and have learned a lot how to not come across that way, right? How to instead of going to a defensive position to try and go for more of an empathetic position, or just taking in, understanding. Like, it's not necessarily agreeing, but it's not directly opposing, right? So it's like, I think that's a better position. But I've definitely learned a lot about that, about how it just leads you down the wrong path when you do it. It's like things spiral from that. As soon as anyone's defensive, whether it's me or you.
I know. I was going to say, I think that was a big one too, because if I look back on like, when we had a moment and like you weren't feeling heard by me, it was like me trying to defend myself. Like, I feel like you would get defensive in a different way than I would get defensive, but it was still defensive.
Yeah.
And like you said, realizing that you don't have to fight your partner, like the person who's trying to talk to you, or you don't have to like defend yourself to try to prove your innocence, because that's really what it is in these moments, right? Like, you're not defending yourself to like fight. You're defending yourself to be like, no, see, I wasn't doing what you thought I was doing, or like, no, I'm not wrong. This is why I'm doing it. But it's like in that moment that isn't going to help the situation.
Yeah.
And there's really, like, unless it's a situation where explaining where you're coming from genuinely benefits the situation, then it's usually not even really necessary. Like you said, it's more necessary to come from an empathetic place,
right,
and make the other person feel heard and validated, and listen to what they're saying, and not go straight to defend yourself. Or not even defend yourself at all in some situations.
Yeah.
And it really does change the whole nature of the conversation and the relationship.
Yeah.
Because you're no longer like, I have to protect myself. I have to defend myself, which that's essentially what it is. Like, even though, well, I guess defensive, you do maybe think of protect, but I don't think people, when they are defensive, think they're protecting themselves.
Right.
I think they're trying to like explain their innocence.
Exactly. And even almost like not hurt the other person, because it's like, oh, I'm not trying to do this to you. I'm not trying to hurt you. Which seems like the right thing to do, but it actually turns out to be not, because if you think about it, whenever someone acts in any kind of defense, it never convinces you.
Right.
You're never like, oh, you defended
like,
yourself
it's
very
okay.
well, right? Like I've changed my mind. I should not have come at you. You know, it's
Right.
like you may change your mind, but it's usually not going to come from a defense,
Right.
right? You know,
And even if you feel like you have to explain because of whatever situation you're in, you should always wait till the end. Like after that person has talked about what they need to talk about and you've validated that and you've had that discussion, then if there's a part that you need to bring up, then it should be at the end. But yeah, it does change the dynamic for the better, and it's hard to do. You know, it's hard to not want to defend yourself. But like you said, defending yourself has never fixed the problem. No one's ever been like, oh, okay, I'm healed. Because the thing is, no matter if you meant to do it or not, no matter if it was intentional or not intentional, you hurt somebody somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it doesn't make sense to you, that is how they're feeling. And typically, too, when we take it personally, we get more defensive, too.
right.
And sometimes it's not even personal. Sometimes it is,
Right.
but sometimes it's not. And so the second we take it personally and then we're trying to defend ourselves rather than care about the person that's talking is when we get in a lot of trouble. And by we, I mean me, but
Yeah. Well, and it's not necessary. Even to give a good example, like if someone accuses you of eating their M&Ms and you didn't even do it. You didn't even do it. You were set up. You took the fall for two women who ate some child's M&Ms.
we didn't eat them.
Or whatever. No one even remembers what happened now, but
That's
it wasn't
true.
me.
Nobody
We know
knows.
that. It wasn't me, yet I'm accused of it repeatedly. Yet I do not defend myself. I just take it. Because there's no point also, right? It's like, okay, then it's okay, if I argued it, even though I'm innocent, then there would be an argument about it. But if I just don't defend against it, then we move on to the next topic, right? It's like, oh, remember when you ate my M&Ms, Dad? And I'm like, I don't have anything to say about it, right? Because I'm not a snitch, right? Then the topic changes. It moves past
Oh
it.
my God.
But if I do even try to, I mean, it's an extreme example, but it is actually true. It is actually true, right? It just moves past it. Like when you stop defending yourself, people can't just keep on throwing darts at you.
Right.
You know, they have to stop because it's like, you know, you get tired of throwing darts at someone who's just laying there on the floor twitching.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? But it is true. But I have learned that. And it is easy to slip into it. It's easy to not recognize when you're being, especially when you feel justified, especially when you feel wrongly accused. But it's just strategically, it's not the right answer and it's not the good thing for the relationship. Because even if someone is attacking you, even if they're accusing you of things you didn't do, it's a better position to take to just either be like, ow, that hurt, or to just let them say their thing and then you can talk about what's going on without defending it, because most people are not going to be done until they've had their time to say their piece, and people want to say their piece, and that's
Yeah. I
it
do
doesn't
think
help.
there is something to say, though, about doing it respectfully. But like you said, you can wait till then and be like, hey, that's not, you know, I hear what you're saying and you can empathize with them. But like words do matter.
Yeah.
They do. Like they shouldn't be everything, but they are important because you can always take an extra minute or two to think about the words that you're saying instead of being like, oh, you shouldn't care about the words I'm saying. Like, no, like you are the only one who can control the words that you're saying.
Right,
so, you know, I think people should pay attention to those things.
It's a good double standard, though. It's one of those things where you, as a person, should be careful about the words that you say, right? But you should be lenient with other people about the words that they say. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
well,
it's a double standard,
what
but
about
it's a good
disrespect?
one. Even then, what I'm saying is that you should be really careful about making sure that of thinking the words that I say are important.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But you shouldn't hold people so much accountable to the words that they say. You see what I'm saying? Like, you should have that standard for yourself. Just like I say that.
Yeah, but I'm asking you, like,
if
if
someone's disrespectful,
yes,
yeah, that's something that you have to deal with, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not acceptable. It's not okay to be disrespectful, but at the same time, you could still listen,
yeah,
and intake
Well,
what someone, even if someone says something in a disrespectful way, like you as a person who has emotional intelligence can say, okay, I'm going to still take in what they're saying. I mean, the way that they said it can be addressed,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not going to just ignore what they're saying just because it was said in a disrespectful way.
right. I didn't say that. I said at the end
Yeah,
that you could tell them that that's not appropriate.
Exactly.